of the Arts Commission to order at 6:02 p.m. on March 11th, 2025.
At 6:02 p.m., I'm calling order the Arts Commission. Arts Commission's in the House. Mr. Chairman, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming. Community engagement, no public comments, so one of you.
Mr. Hamby, does the Arts Commission have any comments?
You do not.
Thank you.
All right, item 2, Joby sponsorship briefing with Bart Stevenson and Michelle Sullivan.
Hello.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I'm Bart Stevenson. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation. That's Michelle Sullivan. She is with HEB and Joby's Smart Shop. And before I turn it over to her, I just want to give you a little bit of background about where we are on this project. As you're well aware, we opened Kidsville Splash Pad last summer. Great fanfare and fantastic attendance over our first summer in 2024. We're expecting nothing bigger and better things in 2025 and beyond. We've been working with Joby's Smart Shop, who just recently moved into just on the other side of our city limit here in Dallas, and a building that's been vacant for 17 years.
Yeah,
17 years. So it really brought a lot to that area. Area that has not seen a lot of grocery store help in a long time, and so I know they've been a great addition to our community. But they approached us about doing a partnership and sponsoring the splash pad and the pavilion at Armstrong Park. This is something that HEB has a history of doing. They are the sponsor of the Texas State Aquarium splash pad, if you're familiar with that, in Corpus Christi. One of the largest splash pads in Texas, actually, I believe. So they have a history of working with splash pads. It's kind of their corporate thing, I think. They approached us about doing a partnership here in Duncanville. And so we've been working through that process for a number of months, longer than either one of us I think that would take. But we're finally there. We did a presentation to the council as a briefing last week. And during that presentation, Councilor Gooden asked that we present to the Arts Commission. So we thought you'd be excited about it. It's kind of our first big art installation in Armstrong Park, our new cultural institute here in Duncanville. So that's why we're here today. We got lucky you guys having a joint meeting to get a 2-for-1. Talk to everybody about it, so we're excited about that. But this is really an opportunity to share with you the vision that HEB folks have come up with. It really is, it's not a marketing piece. When you go through the slides, you'll see that there's very little use of the logo, very little use of the Joby's name. It's all about art and fun for the kids. And so we're excited about that. And in addition to that, of course, we're going to get some money. So we're all excited about that from the city's perspective. We have means to help us fund the maintenance of the park. So that's what we use the money for. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and she'll walk through the art design story.
All right, Bart, thank you so much for that introduction. So my name is Michelle Sullivan. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for HEB and Joby Smart Shop in the North Texas region. And so let me tell you a little bit about public affairs for HEB. Our sole job, best job to have in the world, is to give to nonprofits and municipalities. And so when we were moving in just down the street, a little bird told us about the splash pad. And I remember thinking, my boss was like, no one's asked about it? Well, let's just ask and see. And we just took a chance, and we really took the initiative to kind of approach Bart with this. And he's been great kind of shepherding us through the getting everything together. And so what makes this special is that this is the first splash fill that we've ever done under the Joby Smart Shop brand. And if you want to advance the slide. So this is where we at. The area that we're looking to design or to kind of juice up a little bit is the pavilion, the splash pad, and a little bit of the sidewalk over there. So this is what the logo will look like. We really wanted it to give a fun part. We said Splashville because it's Kidsville and Duncanville, so we really wanted to keep the theme going with that, and also named Armstrong Park. And we really wanted to be, just be tastefully done, so it doesn't feel like it's in your face. So this side, please. We have these beautiful, beautiful banners that are meant to give verbs and adjectives that are about fun things. Laugh, jugar, enjoy, brillar. And we added Spanish to it upon the recommendations of Councilmember Vera Cruz last week. We were like, that absolutely makes sense. So we hurried up and we updated our design, so we have some of it in our banners. Next, we have our whimsical directional sign. So it's something where the kids can look at, and it has really fun directions you can kind of like go towards. And we also, we wanted to make it in English and Spanish as well, so it's a dual language sort of thing. And it is meant to convey joy and wonder and make families to come out. So this part is really, really beautiful. It's the Benz Mosaic. It'll cover the tops of the benches surrounding the splash pad with an interactive seek and find element frame. So what that means, it's like there's going to be like birds, frogs, like different little nature elements for kids to enjoy. So it can be something where count how many flowers are there, or count how many birds are there. Something that encourages education and hunger relief. And so next, we really wanted to keep this family friendly. If you'll notice, it's more a really great representation of art and spring and summer and outdoors and playing, and we called it the Picnic Pavilion. Beautiful design. We like to put little touches, so if you notice, the A in pavilion is like a peach slice, just fun, and the O is like an apple. So we really like to make things bespoke. We wanted to fit, and we chose like bright, family-friendly, bright colors that kind of give you a nice feeling with it. And this next one is one of my favorites. So this is the sidewalk activity path. So coming to the pavilion, we were like, why not do something for the kids that are running back and forth? They can hopscotch over there, they can spell the name, they can spin, they can run. It can be something that provides a color, delight for party goers or people making their way over to the pavilion. So that's our sidewalk activity path. And so wanted to share this with you. So the cost for this installation is just over $100,000. So this is the expense that we're taking on ourselves to pay for this. The $125,000 is what would be donated to the city. So all in, we're all in for over $200,000 on this project at no cost to the city. So we really wanted to show what kind of a public-private partnership could look at. Like when you have the time, because we took a lot of time on this, when you have the time to really kind of go over every step of the way and look over it and make sure everyone feels comfortable with it. I think that was the biggest thing, to make sure everyone feels comfortable, they feel like it's fair, and just a continued example of the investment we put in Duncanville. We donated $10,000 to Duncanville Food Ministries and also to Duncanville ISD, their food pantry, as well, Panther Pantry. So it's just another example of like, we know our store isn't proper, but Duncanville's all around us, and it just doesn't make sense to pretend that Duncanville isn't there. We want you to be our neighbors. We want you to be here. So that's another reason why we wanted to share this with you. So that's kind of like how we got over that.
So we hope this is the first of many sponsorships, and we work not just in the Armstrong Park, but all of our parks. And certainly, we're excited about the opportunity to add art to Armstrong Park. And first approach to the Arts Commission, first was just about naming the park a cultural arts district. I was excited. To me, that's one thing that our parks lack, is the art element. And so this is our first step. Will not be our last, and we hope this kind of encourages other organizations to jump on board, partner with us on these types of initiatives. And we'll continue working with the council and the Arts Commission and the Engagement Commission. Y'all want to get involved as well on growing our arts in our parks.
All right, one more thing. I don't know if he's still on Teams, if David is still on Teams. So one of our designers is actually from Duncanville. So this was a really fun project for him to work on. And he dialed into Teams and kind of talked a little bit about it, like his parents are still here.
You still there, David?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is David Patman, designer here at HEB that worked on this project. Excuse me. Yeah, like Michelle said, I grew up in Duncanville in a house across from Lakeside Park. So I grew up just playing over there, fishing, and running in the woods and playing big fields. And then went to high school, was in the band, marched in the 4th of July parades there, and graduated from the high school there. So when this project came across my desk, I was really excited to feel on something from my even though I don't live there currently, my mom still does, so, and I've got a lot of roots there. So it's just a really exciting project to work on. Thank you all.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
So first of all, sorry, Mary. First of all, I wanted to thank you for coming out today, and also to thank you. Joe Bees has provided a gift card for the Arts Commission for our minister for that. It's a beautiful presentation. There are two things I just wanted to. I know this is a non-action item, so I just wanted to put this in your head. First of all, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of opportunity to hire local artists to do this work. Were you planning on? Have you thought about that?
We've already secured the vendors, and that's why we have that estimate sheet. Those are the estimates they gave us, so we've already secured them.
And the second thing I ask is, so one of the things, so you heard us talk about so recently in February, City Council recognized Armstrong Park as a cultural district. This is going to be a 1-2 activity. The second is there's going to be an application to the Texas Commission for the Arts. And so it's going to be critical that the cultural district have brand and identity of its own. Is there a way, this is the planting of the seed, is there a way that this could help get us start on branding potentially for the entire cultural district?
I kind of feel like that's not a question we can answer. That might lie with council. They may have some opinions about that, to be honest. We'd be happy to kind of share the deck and like our fingers and how we put things together, even the color scheme. But I kind of feel like that decision, I wouldn't feel comfortable committing to right now. Council may have other ideas. There are some strong opinions.
It was just a seed.
Yeah, I used to work for the city of Dallas, so I always defer to the council whenever I got questions
You
like
did it very
that.
good, too. There was no hesitation, it was very smooth.
I was like, I understand, but I know they would want to weigh in on that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
How long is this project supposed to take, or when is the estimated completion date?
That's a great question. So our goal, pending approval next Tuesday, is to hit the ground running because the splash pad is supposed to open May 1st. We're gunning to have it done by that time. So we're really trying to move fast because we just didn't want kids to have to wait. It's going to get real hot real quick. And so if it looks like we may not be able to do it in time, we may break it into 2 phases. Meaning a phase 1 where we have the sidewalk, the pavilion, and the signs put in, and we'll wait until next year to put the mosaic in, because that is one of the most intensive ones, because she puts it in hand by hand. But our goal is to hit the ground running as soon as we get things done, pending council approval, of course, next Tuesday. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way that we can thank you other than just saying thank you? Can we put something on the Facebook or a letter? Is there something to be helpful?
What would be helpful is maybe we can get together with outreach. Community outreach is so great. Like as it leads up to it being developed and finished, maybe letting people know that, hey, have a little patience. There's construction going on there. I think it's really important to let the residents know that something is going on so they don't wonder and they know that, hey, we know you're going to want to play in this splash pad. We want you to, and we estimate, like coming soon or something like that. There's some language with you. You can share some language with us. I think the biggest thing is helping us message the public and say, hey, we're getting this out there to you. Just give us a little patience. You're going to love it. And if you'd like, you can maybe even have, I don't know if you'd like to do like a ceremony before when the water first turns on or something like that.
I do believe we're gonna have like we call it grand opening, it's not grand opening, we did that last year. But we will have a beginning of the year event, along the first weekend of May, along with our, special events team who's planning an event that weekend, here in Duncanville. So, we were planning to have a little celebration. I think it'd be an opportune time to have some photo opportunity, get our good friends at, Joe B. Smart Shop out and take some pictures and thank them through our social media and through all of our meetings that Alex worked so hard.
I remember when they were putting in the Mansfield Park, they had a big billboard out there that said 45 days till opening day. And then somebody would come on and they would switch the sign. 44 days to opening day, and people would drive by and see it all the time. Oh, yeah, this many days till it opens.
We probably need to do something like that, because we're getting a lot of calls now.
Yeah.
When are they gonna open? It's gonna open.
Yeah.
So my staff's asking every day, when are they open? And we do plan on, if the weather is nice in the month of April, the last couple of weeks, if the weather's good in the weekends, we'll open up just for the weekend. But for the official 7 days a week, that will happen the first weekend.
Very cool.
I guess my question was, Michelle, nice meeting you again. I met you James Harris.
Oh, I love James.
Yeah, I do too. He sponsors my profit for our activities. But anyway, how much publicity does JV want to have for this effort? I know you said you weren't gonna have any visible signage or anything like that, nothing too great, but is there anything as far as we talked about media, social coverage, is there anything beyond that?
Honestly, I think kind of having that broader turn-on ceremony, we can put together a press release or media advisory to let them come and see if you'd like. I kind of really want to defer to you guys, how comfortable you are with it. We're happy to spread the news, but we really did this because it's for families, it's for fun. We didn't do it for the NBC5 to come and do an exclusive, but it's part of how we invest in communities. And I think that's what makes HEB overall different from your Aldi's, your Winco, your Winco's, and your Tom-Toms.
Yeah, I think it's important, now that you are, JV is now part of the community, that you are doing that in the community. That's definitely community engagement.
Question about the, application of artwork underneath on the ceiling of the pavilion. Will that be wrapped? Is that how that would be?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last
Will
one.
that be a wrap kind of, application?
Let's go back to that.
That's what it looks like to me, it looks like a wrap.
I think we know
Would it make
more,
sense that it would be a wrap?
the price,
Yeah, no, that right there.
yeah.
Oh. Dave, are you still there?
Yeah,
Is this a wrapped application?
I believe they're direct printed panels, so they'll print directly onto the substrate, and, instead of, doing a vinyl wrap or vinyl sticker, basically. So they will sit off of the roof. You won't see the seams, from the roof. They'll kind of sit a little bit below that, like maybe half an inch or an inch below that. And they propose building a little, like a frame, essentially, that goes around it, so it'll be a really clean application.
Thank you, David.
And then,
Does that help? Does that answer the question? Do you have anything?
Thank you.
and then on the sidewalk, is that paint?
Yes, I think I know where you're going, because we had the same concern. So, the sun is intense, it can bleach colors. And so with our vendor, it's a special type of paint they're using for that. And with the contract, with the negotiations we have with the vendor, we have like a touch-up. So maybe in a few years, maybe between 5 to 7 years, if it starts looking faded, we have a touch-up included. Just let us know, so that way we can come out there and do that. And so, we do some maintenance, but normal part maintenance is on Parks and Rec, but stuff like that, like the detail, it starts, we don't want it to look, uncared for by no means or anything like that, so we kind of built that into some of our contracts.
And it'll be a pretty industrial strength, paint that's made for, sidewalks and asphalt, and it's made for the ground and heavy usage.
Well, great questions. Well, thank you guys for having us. We sure appreciate the opportunity to come and share the vision that Michelle and her team have together, and we're excited about moving forward. City Council will hear from us Tuesday.
Thanks for having me, guys, I really appreciate it, and I just gotta give Alex a quick hug. Thank you for having us. Wow. Thanks, David.
So I think item 3 on here is the Arts Commission, the Arts Calendar. Normally Dr. Perry would be in charge of that, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about three things we have coming up that are not very much fun, but they're important. On March 3rd, the policy and procedures meeting for the Arts Commission is going to be meeting via Teams. As some of you know, the Arts, I said 13th. Sorry, March 13th, sorry. That's 13th. Why can't y'all see this? So that's important because there's a new enterprise fund. I think I mentioned it when I spoke at the last meeting. That allows the Arts Commission to make recommendations to City Council for spending. So we're doing our best to put some equitable policies in place for that. On March 18th, Arts Commission is giving a report to City Council. So if you could show up and support that. And then March 25th is our regular meeting. So is anyone on the Arts Commission would like to include anything on the arts calendar that you know of you would like to mention?
Commission for theater show, normally Andrew Carter shows. We open March 20th.
March
2
20th.
weekends, yes. That both community theater runs March 20 through 23 and 27 through 29.
When's your next audition?
Pardon?
When's your next auditions for the next play? You want to talk about that?
Auditions for the next year actually March 25th and 24th and 25th at 7 o'clock for 9 cents.
What's the name of the production?
Pardon?
What's the production?
Prescription Murder, it's a true murder mystery. It was the inaugural play that launched the television story series Columbus. So it's a true murder mystery in Columbo, I'm sorry, not Columbo.
Okay, thank you.
What's the presentation date for the city council? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
18th? So next Tuesday?
So what we do is we started this our first year, we gave an annual report, so to speak, to City Council. If you guys, I'd encourage community engagement to do an annual report. It's a great opportunity to get in front of City Council, and they're always looking for feedback. So it's a great opportunity to take it. Okay.
And we sent out invitation to a Turkish dinner, which is also an iftar for Ramadan on March 22nd. Anybody would like to be included, I will get you an invitation of that.
Anybody else? So we're gonna go ahead and move on to item 4. I have a little cheat sheet that Alex gave me. It's color coded. It's very nice. So item 4, there's 2 events, a community event and Juneteenth. Alex, you know specifically what community event you're speaking of?
That's all right.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, that's all right.
It wasn't colored that way.
The community that we spoke of at our last 2 meetings ago, the country fair, if we want to brainstorm a bit and let the Arts Commission know what we're thinking.
And I think it would be an excellent opportunity to actually have a piece of it that would be, that we could have art competition. I keep running into all of this youth art competition that's going on across the Metroplex, and I really would like to see us capture that wave that seems to be going on. And I will start sending, I know I've sent some of it to you, Angela, but I will start capturing those. But I think that would be an excellent piece for a country fair, to have an art competition and other types of games and activities, and have vendors. You know, JV can set up a booth out there and once again, try to engage more of the community as customers.
What is the event?
We're talking about a country fair.
Okay.
Well, a country fair, something that Duncanville had not, I think that someone said they may have had one years ago.
So it'd be kind of farmer's market?
It would be just.
Almost like what Cedar Hill did.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. We did one, did you work that event with us? No, you didn't, okay. It would really be something like that. People, I really wish we had had, people who sold fresh produce and vegetables, and obviously, that's one of the major caveats of Jody, they have fresh vegetables, which is so important in the diet of overnight, as far as I'm concerned. So that would be something that we would include as part of kind of a health and wellness component. Yeah. No, we're still working on it, and we gotta get a location for it, that's the other thing. And if you have any suggestions, we're open to suggestions and availability. We will definitely check into it, but we do definitely think that's something that would brings bodies into the to the Duncanville area. When I go to events in Cedar Hill, there are people from everywhere that show up at these events. And I'd like to see that same kind of interaction taking place in Duncanville for our community.
Yeah, their farmer's market starts first week in May, and it goes every 2 weeks.
I know, it's really good.
Through September.
And I go there, and they're just taking a parking lot, basically.
Yeah, they're actually gonna be downtown this year because of the construction. So they'll have right by the, Babe's Chicken,
Yeah.
that front street,
Mhm.
and the street that goes by the church. So it'll be all in that area.
And we have downtown areas that aren't exactly being utilized that I think would be probably good. If you see something that you think would be especially enticing for our community, but I do really want to encourage, and I'm not just saying this because you guys are sitting, I really would like to, I am an art collector, in case you didn't know, all you need to do is come to my house and you'll understand. And it's like wall to wall, 3 floors of art. So I'm an art collector, and I would really like to try to get us to cultivate that in our people. I do part-time board work at the Dallas County Appraisal District, and I don't know why, but all the art they have on the walls down there are from Duncanville High School students. If you go down there to pay your taxes, look around there. Every piece of art they got on the wall is from Duncanville students, but we don't seem to have any anywhere.
Would you have the event in Armstrong Park at all? Have you thought about that?
That could be a good place. I'm not, but yeah.
A lot of sidewalks.
Yeah.
Is this like a one-day event or like?
We would probably do 2 days.
2 days.
I think 2 days would be really good. I don't know why, if you're a vendor, and I'm a vendor all the time, it just always seems to be such an effort to set up for one day, and especially when you got a good crowd. And I think there'll be a good crowd. We've got that nice splash pad down there. There's so many things that will pull people into that area. And so I think the 2-day event will be great.
As you think about the artwork, our very first thing that we did was Juneteenth, when it was our listing. And winners, we had an art competition at Hopkins, and the winners got to show their art over here, and occasionally we've shown art over here. And every time we do that, everyone who works in City Hall and almost every city councilman will say, can we do revolving artwork in city-owned buildings? So there's space and there's interest.
We need to do
There
it.
just needs to be organization behind it.
Yeah, we need to do it. If you go down to the new Southwest Center Mall, Redbird Reclaimed or whatever, they got that fancy name. But they have some of the most beautiful artwork posted. And then
It's a beautiful
oh,
facility.
it's gorgeous. I just like to go down there and look at their art, because they have all the original stuff down there.
So you all are trying to have your country fair day this year?
We want to have it in August when it's nice and hot.
And so leave that door open to come talk to the Arts Commission about that.
Yeah, we definitely would love to do that.
That's right.
And it may be a good thing to do in the fall. You think of country days, fall, and it will start
It's a
cooling
harvest.
off. Yeah, the harvest kind of idea. I think the fall, I was only kidding about harvest.
They're like,
You're gonna have to buy yourself a next year.
the park's great, but there's another alternative in case we have bad weather or whatever it may be, is the high school's parking lot.
Yeah.
Because it's wide open,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
parking for everybody, plenty of vendor room, it's easy maneuver,
Well,
direct traffic.
I know it's good because I'm having my health fair in Duncanville, at the Duncanville High School and Performing Arts Center this year.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have our health fair and the bike ride on the backside of the pavilion. And then we got whole parking spot where we're gonna have the big mobile units that are
Yeah.
gonna be out there.
oh, great.
Yeah, I think that would be a good location too, but I like the park idea, I like both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everybody. Any more conversation on that topic? As I think the next one is on item 4, the second bullet is Juneteenth.
The Arts Committee, Commission is doing a Juneteenth celebration. It'll be in this room. We have it reserved for the June 17th through the 21st, and we're putting together an agenda or program. So if the community engagement group has any suggestions or recommendations and so forth, welcome.
It's gonna be here?
It's in here. Last year we did it, we had, an art exhibit going on, we did a reception one evening, we did, a film night one evening. We also did, folklore, concerts.
Yeah.
We had the reading, children's reading, so just a variation of things. And we did everything in this room.
So also, when there's artwork, when we come on the doors, it keeps artwork safe. We had an exhibit out in the lobby. Every arts commissioner was volunteering multiple hours just babysitting the art. So,
I get to take something home.
it was, you know what, every time the kids came, I had a heart attack. But, it's,
Oh, check your house.
So if nothing else, it looks like you might need some help, like docenting or something?
Yes.
Right.
Just some ideas, new artists maybe to showcase. We've had some repeats, but I like new artists, local artists, or even outside. You know, we don't have to have a lot of pieces, but just some ideas. There's some that the committee, we sort of bounced around, but, you know, we thought of maybe an evening of spoken word or poetry.
Yeah.
Or, one of the evenings, that was a thought. Because we have the room all day and all evening. So we can do things daytime and evening, we can set the room a certain way that you can come see the art, but we can have some type of activity.
I think I'm confused. Didn't we used to have the Juneteenth outside in the band shell? And didn't we rotate it between?
They do rotate it, but Southwest, I think it's in the sun. I think it's the sun, but we're still going to do a little bit
A
of something
separate one
here.
for 3 days?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
we're still something here in the city.
Mhm.
okay.
the one that the Arts Commission supports is one that focuses on art. And so all of the literary art, musical art, visual art, we do our best to get on. So if you're looking to volunteer, or if you know friends who want to volunteer, or fun. Thanks, Angela.
And then we're going up, item 5, city games, we're gonna skip that into the engagement dashboard with Toby. Mari's out for the city games, so let's just go and jump on over to number 6. Toby,
Well, I haven't done anything like this month, so this will be a short report. Basically, you know, I collected 22 event surveys, you know, and a friend right here came up with a great idea in our last meeting to kind of hook this into Alex's newsletter so that we get a preliminary report from an event organizer and a postmortem report from an event organizer. And the reason to collect this data is to try to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I was really surprised, actually, because it was just basically me and Alex just pastoring people for a year, you know, and we got 22 responses, and the thoughtfulness that was put into the survey responses was surprising, you know, it really was, you know, because when you're producing an event, you have a lot of stuff to do. The last thing you want to do is perform at the end of it, right? But we did get a lot of thoughtful, you know, input on that. And then it kind of went dormant in October because I'm not sure how we're going to stage that, you know, so that it's a tool that, you know, the community can use. And then we came up with this new software, you know, that the city has in order to approve promotion of an event or.
So what we have now is a community calendar. I think you've gotten a chance to use it, and we want to make sure that you continue to engage with it. And the goal of the community calendar is to be a one-stop shop for everything going on in Duncan. So right now, we're trying to coordinate with the ISD to get their API, so it'll feed without them having to go into it every time they set up a new event. But we're trying to make it a catch-all. Then the next phase, already reached out to them about doing this, is having people be able to set up events on this calendar, and that would be an opportunity to capture that information from the event coordinators.
You know, what your target market is, you know, all that stuff, you know, what your local attendance is, and then a follow-up survey saying, okay, you hoped for, 100, you got 200, what went so well? Why did you double your attendance? That sort of thing.
So I have a question on tracking metrics. So like, let's say that this is going, this is a robust school, and we wanted to identify every single thing that happened within Armstrong Park. What kind of things could we track using this tool?
Whatever you need, I would think. I mean, you don't want the survey. It's been my experience, doing surveys, right? I do it kind of for Dallas College, but it'd be cumbersome to use, right? But I mean, I would be thrilled, to get some input on what you guys need, to capture for any event.
So
that takes place.
mine was a pointed question because the cultural district designation, that means this becomes a whole city thing. And so anything that happens within Armstrong Park is advantageous if we know what it is, how many people showed up, what they did, what was the purpose, was it, what was the scope of it? So that every fiscal year, we can say X number of people showed up, X number of people did this, X number of people did this.
Right.
I understand there is some kind of technology if you knew where you went afterwards. So they went to a restaurant afterwards, or they went, those sorts of things. So as much information that we know how people are using the park, which is our new cultural district, will benefit greatly in the future.
Right, because you've got to do reporting now, right?
And there's gonna be grant requests.
Yeah.
There's gonna be brand new eyes, and so it's important that folks outside of Duncanville can look at what we're doing, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Right.
So how do we make that tool usable and robust? What do you need?
We don't know, because, I mean, basically, that wasn't sustainable, right? I mean, just because I happen to have, Karen Contreras' phone number, that one gets filled out, But I remember, for your events, I mean, it was a learning curve on that, right? Trying to get some information about your events, the Arts Commission events. Some, are, that were, yeah. In terms of like, I think that what you're looking for then is quantifiable stuff, right? Not just, right? And so,
Well, part of my thinking was, I know that you're wanting to make this a best use tool, but as long as you're collecting information. Clearly, Parks is collecting some information because seeing the reports on it.
right.
But I'm sure that other things happen. Well, and honestly, I don't know how that information is collected or used or correlated, but if you're making a tool for a best use, I don't know if there's a component for that.
Yeah, the software, what's that software that counts cell phone things?
Placer?
Placer.
Placer AI.
Placer AI, that estimates attendance,
Can you explain how Placer AI works?
Alex did.
So Placer AI is a program that utilizes cell phone data. And what it will do is it will follow a phone based on it being here, and then it will track it backwards and forwards. So for example, Mexican Independence Day. They were able to determine based on the people who were congregated in the park during the time of the event, where they had come from, and then what businesses in the city that they went to afterward. So different restaurants that they went to after the event, after they left the event, and they could track that kind of information.
Who's that information shared with?
It's through economic development, and it's often shared with city council.
I'm thinking that for an investor or restaurateur or anyone who wanted to develop, because for the most part, what was explained to us at one of the meetings with the comprehensive plans, we're on all the wrong spreadsheets. And so how do we get on the right spreadsheets?
See, I use that with my clients for commercial real estate, but the key performance indicators, the KPIs for Duncanville are so low. We could flip that and figure out how to start turning this into an arts district, getting more people. Then the retailers and the restaurateurs will come.
What about the KPIs?
We'd have to show that we're getting bodies here for things like this.
So I see So this fast conversation, I see how our two boards can work together in business and economic development with one tool.
One of the struggles that we've had, and maybe it's time that I just reach out to the city manager and just ask, you know, the software that I'm familiar with, that I'm good with, you know, is proprietary, and, you know, so there's another license involved too, because if I send Alex, you know, a dashboard, you know, you know, he can't do anything with it, you know, because he doesn't have the same, you know, the same software license that I do, you know, so, that was one of the struggles. One of the goals was to just have this dashboard just living off a link on the city website, where anything about, you know, planning an event could go and review, you know, or, you know, in your case, if you needed to pull some information, you know, together for a grant proposal or something, that would be available to you as well. We just haven't figured out a format to do that in yet. And I've monkeyed around a little bit with Tableau, but, you know, Salesforce bought Tableau, and so now it's a big licensing thing, and, you know, you're not gonna get Power BI, business intelligence, you know, for free. Microsoft isn't gonna let you do that. There is a Google product, but I think it's kind of clunky, you know, that I could use, but, you know, I mean, if we could get that license, and then I could just share that dashboard, and then we could just share it out, you know, when everybody was comfortable with its looks, you know.
Have you talked to economic development about this?
No, I just been doing it.
Would you?
You introduced me to somebody, you know.
So I think, I mean, based on what you told me, that's an immensely important tool in a lot of different ways. You know, just if there's a way to flip the KPIs for the city of Duncanville using the cultural district and arts and your technology and all the ways that a flip KPI works, economic really know about it.
Yeah.
And so if you get to the point, what do you need to make this functional and actionable? And it's just a question of saying, I need X, Y, Z. And how do we get you X, Y, Z? Or how do we get the city X, Y, Z?
How much is that? What would you, Tony, what would you?
My ears are all.
How much do you think that software would cost?
Not that much. I mean, you know, if you get an enterprise license for Power BI, or, you know, even the tablet thing, I think it's a monthly subscription, it's like $20, $30 a month, something like that, you know.
So tell me, I want to follow up.
Yeah.
Make sure, I don't want this to, I think this is gonna be a really critical piece moving forward.
It just seemed intuitively when we started this board that this was something we should do, you know? But then, you know, it got to a point, it's like, well, okay, so do we continue with this? Is there some value in it? But when I actually analyzed the responses, it was like, man, we're getting some good data here, you know?
So Alex, you're the outreach, is there any other kind of technology that the city's using that's comparable to this or better than this, or is this something that should be pursued from your job role?
If you could send me the link to the information about it, so I can at least look at it and see what the cost is, see if it's something that can be put in the next budget or something.
Okay.
And then at least maybe research other options, but I'm not that familiar with the software itself.
So we're not going to have a directory of artists. Is this a component that can fit in with that?
Sure. I mean, you know, the way the dashboard software that I use all the time, you know, has, you know, you can do like flat tables out there, you know, on separate pages, you know, so that directory is right there, and then you only have one place to update it, you know, that sort of thing. You know, there's two components usually to dashboard kind of stuff. There's, you know, KPIs and the pretty graphs and all that stuff that typically like my big bosses love, and then there's like the stuff, you know, with detailed information in it. So yeah, I think that would be huge, you know, if we had one repository for that kind of information in there.
I'm sorry, I was just saying.
I know that when I go to restaurants or different places, sometimes on my phone it'll pop up that tells me where I am, you know where I am. But, and then, or where I've been, but then it'll ask me sometimes like, well, how was your visit or things like that. Is that something that
I missed that second part. I'm so sorry.
After you're, like when you go to the restaurant, when you leave a restaurant, sometimes I'll get a message like, how was your visit? Would you recommend us, or just ask you to take a quick survey? Is that something that, you were talking about how this Placer AI might work, that when people come to Duncanville, or especially if they hit, the park, that maybe after an event, if the technology says you were here, and would you take a quick survey?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that either, so each one of these are getting a little bit more interesting on this, because that would just would just entail, that we had some sort of ticketed event, right, where we're actually tracking these
Well,
folks.
Some of them, yeah, but some of them did, like when you go to restaurants, there's no ticket.
Yeah, I don't know how that
They just
works.
know that you're in that vicinity, and you were saying that AI Placer knows when you're in the vicinity.
Right,
And then it'll say, you were at Armstrong Park, how was your visit?
that would be, I've never used Placer AI, so I don't know how that software
And I
works.
don't
so that's an Alex
know
question.
if that does it, but I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Because I know I get it all the time from different places.
That's true, I do too,
So the new community software that we have, that allows for registration. So you can get tickets, paid tickets or free tickets, so that we are able to capture that data. And then it does have the ability for us to use that data to send out messages. We can send out messages through it. We've only had this since January, where I'm still ironing out some how-tos and things like that for myself, but it will be able to do.
Right, but and this is just a follow-up, I find that this is just my personal thing. I know that we had a couple of things where it asked for, it was free event tickets, and that's fine. But when we have the park gated, and then people have tickets, and some people didn't know, and they get through, I just find that to be cumbersome. Not really good. And it keeps people from coming. But I know we because I've just gone through different places, and, it even pops up on Facebook, you were here. It knows. Something knows what I'm doing.
Siri listens.
Big brother.
Siri listens to you. So something else to think about this technology, just to bump it up, because the Armstrong Park is gonna have to have a cultural plan. But beyond that, the mention to is that there needs to be a cultural plan for the city. So there's all kinds of plans. So what a cultural plan would capture is what we're gonna call cultural or artistic assets. So it's people, places, and events. So we know there's gonna be some hard focus on the cultural district. There needs to be a heat map for the entire city, because that's going to direct funding, that's gonna direct energy, that's gonna be able to collect some of that. It's real easy, because there's a lot of interest in city council. Well, how does the cultural district go out to downtown Duncanville and adjacent areas? And I've been calling them cultural corridors. But all that is going to lead to some mapping, and technology is going to be able to do that. So if we can say, if you can imagine a map of Duncanville, and we can see where our cultural assets are, and that's a horrible phrase, but I didn't invent it. So it's people, places, and events. So Duncanville has some amazing artists that nobody knows about. And how do we start capture it? How do we know where they live? How do they show? Where do they do it? So that's just something else about technology, is we're gonna have to create a cultural plan at some point.
So we need to figure out, it sounds to me like we need to figure out the software pipeline to this. That's the piece we're missing right now, because, as far as analyzing the information once we get it, I don't think much of a problem with that. It's just figuring out a good way to get it.
Well, so think about it this way, what's the biggest challenges with Duncanville? We have a revenue problem. So if we're going to lean into new ways, and we're going to say, well, arts is a great way to address our revenue problem, well, then we have to be able to capture all these data points. Because ultimately, buying is just a data point. And if you want to be able to predict a buying habit, whether it's a ticket, a piece of artwork, or whatnot, it's a data point. 100%. That we have to start tracking those data points.
If we could get y'all to start doing y'all's park arts fests and whatnot, and drive people from all over the city, we would be able to bring in retailers.
Well,
Problem is, retailers come here, there's not a lot of retail, there's not a lot of restaurants, so they wanna put down their flag right here and say, okay, give me 5 miles, will this bring in business for 5 miles? The way it looks right now, it won't, to a lot of these retailers, a lot of these restaurateurs. So, now if you're on 67, traveling 67, yes, that's a different, idea, because that gets a lot of drive-bys per day. But in the middle of the city, it's difficult. We show space to retailers a few times a week. They come here and they're like, okay, it's just not the right time right now. But with y'all having the events and bringing in the waddies, it will change again.
so it's not our.
It's
well,
us.
It's,
Yes,
it's all of ours.
Of course.
But I think that's the point is one of the things about the cultural district allows us to all talk about the same things. So we don't always talk about the same things, and then we can. And I would love for, like, if you're trying to, it's to your point.
Yes.
Any other conversation on this one? Clearly, it's going to be a robust conversation as we move forward. Okay, so we have never had a meeting this fast ever.
We've never had a meeting this.
Well, let's do it again. So number 7 on the agenda, this is us, discuss Armstrong Park Cultural District. Every time I get a chance to talk to them, I talk about this. Whenever I talk with anybody, I give them copious amounts of research. Whenever you hear me talking about the cultural district, it's not me. It's studies being done about how cultural districts affect communities. So we're focusing on economic development, but if you look at the research, it's arts and education, it's arts and healthcare, it's livability, it's how you attract people. And so the cultural district started with the Arts Commission because it's real simple, because it's something that's recognized by the Texas Commission for the Arts, but it's meant to be a robust tool for everybody. Our cultural district is in our biggest park. It's an economic driver. We have all the civic buildings in here. We have 50 years of history of things happening. We have adjacent to other areas of town that we would like to see vibrant and developed. We have an opportunity. That's why I asked, can I go to the park? Can't go to the park. Can't go to the park. That's something like everything. So one of the things that is important, you always hear me talk about the Texas Commission for the Arts component, is they fund two principal programs. One is funding for arts programming, and then a cultural district programming. And they do because studies show that there is an economic return on cultural districts. But it's not just about economies. It's about a whole lot of the research, education, healthcare, beautification, livabilities of communities. Everyone has access to the arts if it's in our park. And all the other places people can buy tickets to. So you can see things for free, you can see things not. So what's clear is the reason we need to have that designation from the Texas Commission for the Arts, because if we get that, the city is then eligible for what currently eligible for. And it's good funding, it's not chump change. The other part about it is if we want to get private funders engaged in this activity, this is a good way to do it because it's our good housekeeping seal of approval. There's about 50 districts in the state of Texas. Big ones, which you've been to, there's 3 in Dallas County, and little ones. Winsboro, populated, there's 3,500 people in Winsboro, they have a cultural district. They scale to the community. So we need community engagement. We need ways to talk about the arts, track the arts, make it part of our regular. If you live in other communities, it can just be part of the regular, but is it part of our regular? So we have a community theater, they have patrons, it's part of their regular. What if we had 30 theaters in a neighborhood? What if we had a whole performing arts center? What if we had a gallery? Well, how do you do that? We track the numbers, we get people talking about it, and then we bring in the funders. So if everything that we do needs to have a community engagement component to it, every single thing we do, everything that we do, we have to track. And my hope is that for you guys, arts is going to be fun. It's going to, and it's tangible, and people can see it right away.
So what is holding us up with the enterprise fund?
To shake the money tree? So first of all, we're advisory to city. And what we have told city council is we need to have what professional mature commissions and other municipalities do is they have a set of policies, so that everyone who applies for funding goes to the same thing. So there's an application, there's, a lot of them have, now, Arts Commission is not great on this, so we're still working on this. So pay attention, watch this space.
Right.
But ultimately, is everyone who comes to the commission, that enterprise fund is all hot revenue right now. So hot has strings attached to it. The enterprise funds are meant to be robust.
Right.
So other kinds of non-hot related things can go into it. That's why cultural districts, that is gonna be a great way to get new funding in. Theoretically, we could get sponsorships and go to the enterprise fund. We could get grants for the enterprise fund. Theoretically, we could sell tickets that goes into the enterprise fund. Technology is important. Community engagement. One thing we hear from city council is they want to have a lot of opinions about what people are doing, and I think, this is just me personally, that if we're going to collect opinions about, do you like jazz, why don't we have it at the end of jazz concert? Or do you like Shakespeare, why not the end of it showing Shakespeare? If we want more restaurants, well, let's do pop-up restaurants. Let's figure out a way to be creative, use the arts, use our space, and all come together for smart ways, and then track the outcomes. Because we track the outcomes, we report the outcomes, and then we begin to shift the paradigm that we've all talked about, we get stuck on. So we've made it, at our last regular meeting, we had people coming in, funding, we didn't have the policies. It was not a universal, it was not a unanimous vote, but, so we've got to get our policies. We only recommend to city council. We don't make those decisions unilaterally. Only recommend to city council, but the better our recommendations, the more respect that we'll get from them. I just completely monopolized that conversation.
How long do you think it's gonna take?
Well, so we're meeting on the 13th. Thursday. So what's gonna happen is, we're gonna we have a subcommittee. And we talk about policies and procedures. Funding is part of it. It's the only thing we're gonna talk about at the next meeting. Hopefully, ideally, we're gonna have something that we're gonna bring to the Arts Commission on the 25th. That will be an action item. Hopefully, Arts Commission will be able to say, okay, this can be our policy, or this can be what we think. We can send this policy to City Council for them to consider. If they accept the policies, that, okay, you're gonna have, so if everyone is gonna apply for the enterprise fund, it's called the Duncanville Arts Fund, there's an application for it. The city manager had mentioned he was gonna create an application, but do we make those decisions every time someone comes, or do we have a grant cycle? A lot of municipalities do it every cycle. So the enterprise fund is the hot revenue is collected quarterly. City manager has said we're really going to have to look at it quarterly, but that might be something the Arts Commission may recommend. Is where we really look at the money that we have available that quarter. Those are going to be ongoing discussions. I would encourage you guys to come to our meetings, come to our regular meetings, speak at them. But as soon as City Council says, okay, those are good policies, then that's, from my perspective, and we haven't taken a vote on it, and I'd like to hear the rest of the Arts Commission, because this is the hot button for us, is how do we shape that money tree? We haven't figured that out yet.
Is there any pushback from council on y'all just starting at the park and not being downtown? Anything of that nature? I mean, is there any?
City Council has not said do this, that, or the other.
But they're letting it all, that's awesome.
So it seems like they are okay with maybe going forward?
They're ready for us, we're all ready to spend the money. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah. So the challenge is, someone came to us at a meeting, and there was no application process, there was no vetting process, there was no discussion. And really, the reality is, everyone is gonna come to us, we're gonna like the idea, we're gonna want it.
Of course.
But how do we separate what's going to be responsible for quasi-fiduciary responsibilities? The Arts Commission is going to move in a different direction, where there will be fiduciary responsibilities. So what our first commission does, if we get this right, the commission that comes after us is going to have a whole lot better time.
Yeah.
And so, but I will say this Arts Commission, we have 24 months into this, I have never met a more passionate group of people who want to see the arts survive and grow and flourish in Duncanville. And so the conflict is always how fast, how quick, how do we make it work? But ultimately, that's what it's gonna come down to, is what's equitable, what's transparent, what is financially responsible. You know, what happens if you run out of money? Or
And
what if?
not to be the negative, but what could the people of the city see as, you know, a problematic for doing this?
Well,
I mean, and I'm saying that because I have no clue, but you know Duncanville, I mean, people are gonna find reasons to say that they, you know,
So
aren't behind it.
we have commissioners who are like, let's start the right way. I'm not one of those. And there's no more passionate advocate for the arts than me or any of us. We all just look at it differently. I look at it, particularly this first commission, we have to be very judicious, because what we do is precedent for future commissions. And other boards in the city have been really struggling with some of these same decisions. And I want to make sure that we learn from those, and we make, because ultimately, anyone in the community, okay, it's going to the Arts Commission, they got this. They're thinking about it. Because if we could get, if we got, in one quarter, if we got 10 requests for an arts festival, and we got 3 requests for live music, and 1 for new performance arts, well, how do we make those decisions when they're coming in line? You have to look at it from my perspective comprehensively. Because if you're having several kinds of organizations all the same thing, then you also have to look at capital development. Well, we're gonna need a brand new building, or we're gonna need to add a second wing, or and you do that with numbers. And we could say, when we had this quarter, we had 13 applications for X, 19 applications for this, and 19 applications. Of those applications, X number had other sources of revenue, others had no sources of revenue. So you look at those comprehensively to say, we think what's gonna be best for the community and the city is this. And so Arts Commission we're gonna have to figure out what the best is. And we haven't yet.
Now, have we spoken to any of these developers? Like, I helped bank Jim and Amanda Lake, who own 60% of Bishop Arts. And they developed Bishop Arts from nothing to what it is now. And like I said, you go there every weekend, it's a ton of people.
Yep.
Restaurants,
Camp Park.
entertainment,
They
you name it.
also had problems with downtown Cedar Hill.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of them, that was something completely different. But I don't know if we need to bring some people like that in, not necessarily Jim and Amanda, but bring people like that in and say, this is a game plan that you would need to look at if you're looking to increase this
So
area.
it's, and part of the problem with our lovely city, which we all love, is that we have individuals here that are willing to do that. Groups that want to spend money and help grow this city, who've been here for many, many years, who understand. We're just not on the list as the ones that they want to speak to at this point, you know? So the communication needs to get better amongst everyone.
I will tell you this, I've talked with almost several legislators about the arts. I've talked with the folks at the Texas Commission for the Arts. I've talked to people who have done their own cultural districts. The most important thing everybody says, be transparent, be sincere. That's what everybody says. The second you don't say what's on your mind, the second you don't put what's on the table, the second you make someone feel like, I did that because of something other than my application, you ruin your credibility. And at the very beginning, we have to be bulletproof. Everyone has to say, got it. So this is something very important for community engagement. Anything that we do, particularly the Arts Commission, as we move forward, because there are plans for the Arts Commission to have more fiduciary responsibilities. So at this point, absolutely transparent, absolutely bulletproof, and we need community engagement to be part of every single thing that we do.
So is the process worked out now in regards to, okay, so the hot tax money is into some sort of designated fund, right, on a quarterly basis, right? You, this body right here, will recommend on an event level, you know, to the city council, and the city council will vote yes or no.
Right.
Is
So
that
hot
how that
revenue,
works?
there's a spending cap of 15%. And that's, now, municipalities, Houston does it all the time. They go before the Texas legislature and say, we want to give more than 50% to the arts. But, so the basic is 15%. So by policy, that 15% is put into the arts fund.
Yeah.
So now the arts fund has eligibility requirements. So you can go online, find the fund, and this is what's eligible. So ostensibly what's eligible for HOT for the arts is included in that. Beyond what's eligible for HOT, there are no other parameters. There's not an application. There's not a tracking mechanism. There's not, like right now one of the complaints and meant to speak to is the way that the city of Duncanville addresses it is its reimbursement. So if you're an arts organization, that's not the best model for you. And the Texas Commission for the Arts says it's not a great model. Now, does that mean you can take away the reimbursement? Well, no, it's still a funding model, but we've recommended to the city council that they include other funding models so that if you're an established arts organization or if you're brand new. So generally what happens in municipality, the city's the last at the table. For this particular case, we have an opportunity to be first at the table. So a lot of municipalities, they want to say, we're the last people that you need to come to for funding. Well, let's make sure that your donors are paying for this, your patrons are paying for this, you have other sources of funding for this, you come to us last. Well, we're not there yet. So right now, we have an opportunity to be the first to the table. And for arts organizations to have a city entity fund their program is really good news for other funders. So if the city chose to fund an arts activity, and I don't call them events, I call them programs, but if they chose to fund an arts program, and then this arts organization decided to go to an institutional funder, a foundation, and apply for funds, having received funds from the city is phenomenal. So municipal tracking is much more robust than private funding tracking. And so they know if they've been vetted by the city, they're doing really well. So for professional arts organizations, if what we're doing, it's an immense opportunity. I think that the city, well, you talk about the dead spaces on Main Street, there's an opportunity to fill them.
One last thing, I just want to be sure this clear that in my this. And so if I wanted to get a little bit of the 15%, right, it has to go through you guys.
Well,
Is that right?
so there's still hot revenue, there's still the rest of it, but you go to
Well,
city
yeah, but
council.
I made that earmark, 15%.
So like if you were a sculptor and you needed $5,000 to go to your sculpture,
Right,
and there was a process by which you could come to the Arts Commission,
right.
you would go to the Arts Commission first.
That's where you got.
Now, here's what a really clever person's gonna do. So let's say that you have a sculpture business, and you say, you know what? I need to expand a certain amount of inventory, so I have to do more sculpture, I need some more clay or whatever. But then I'm gonna expand the back part of my studio. Well, then you can go to economic development.
Right, right.
So if you're really super smart, you have two sources of funding to draw from.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any other? This is Councilmember Gooden. Can everybody hear her?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have to jump off the call, but I wanted to say that I really enjoyed listening in and heard some great ideas, and I look forward to hearing more about the upcoming forth tonight. And just to toot the horn of Duncanville before I head out, not often do you see cities who will support
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you.
So I want to let you know, this is another community engagement. I had kind of a surprise meeting, and there have been changes. I don't know if how the National Endowment for the Arts is going to fund, but I had a surprise request from the city manager. He had sent me a text message asking to be part of this meeting, and it was all the department heads. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to that meeting. And it was, he's a representative from the National Endowment for the Arts, every department head in the city, talking about how they can incorporate the arts into what they do. And he gave them he made them do their homework, because every one of them says, well, let me show you what's on my laptop, you know, and they turn the thing around. So it's very rare to have a city council and city staff so behind something. And that's why, but honestly, the critical part about this is how we engage with the public. Arts Commission we have a lot of duties, but we don't have good solutions for community engagement at a really quality level. So that kind of brings into item number 8, which I think we've already talked about. I would love to open this up to everybody. I don't want to, we've talked about a lot. And so really I can only ask the Arts Commission thing, but I would love to ask my colleagues in the Arts Commission to talk about how they see our potentially we could work with the Community Engagement Board, where you see the value, where the opportunities are. And I like to do this thing where I make everybody. We could just get on the line and talk about it. Our Vice Chairman, Matt Graham.
I really like the idea of putting the data, the metrics, the rules. I think that's going to make a big difference. So if we could grade on that, that would be huge, and I think it will bring in businesses if we do it correctly. I also think that every event or every thing that we're doing, we do need the community engagement, because why are we doing it? You know what I mean? We need the community engaged. We want it for them, but we don't. So we need y'all.
How long has the Community Engagement Advisory Board been in existence? Is this a brand new?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
It's a brand new commission?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They formed at the same time you did.
Oh, okay.
This group, it took a little bit for them to get fully, for the board to be filled to a point where they had the ability to form a so, but they've been around the same amount of time.
Same amount of time, so they're new too. Okay, well, I look forward to working with you all, but yeah, we do need some kind of way to get more of the Duncanville community to come out to the different events that not only we do, but anything that the city is doing. We just need some ideas or suggestions that you all may come up with to get, we do a lot of stuff now, which is great, but just some ideas on getting the community more involved.
And a similar thought in terms of your artist directory, you know, just a contact list of civic organizations and, you know, people at the high school and, you know, on and on, you know, church secretaries, you know, around town or something, that we just compile that list, right, you know, and, you know, to help towards promotion of events.
So now we do have some information that we've collected at different events. Would it be helpful to turn that over to you and go ahead and create that model that you talked about, contact?
What do you think? Yeah.
I think it would definitely be. Okay, we do have some information.
Yeah, and people come to meetings to do this, and
Pass that. Thank you.
communication is always an issue. My theory is the more we do it, the worse it gets. So I'd be interested in how y'all are looking at that, how you were, and I don't like the phrase reaching out, but how are you getting to hear what people are saying?
For example, part of our group, we kind of found out is that anyone who lives in apartments or townhomes that don't own their home, they're not getting the community calendar that you get to water. So a lot of the people in our city don't know what's happening. So how do we get, and Alex is working on that, how do we touch those families that aren't seeing that calendar, you know, once a month? Because, I mean, I think that a lot of people look at that calendar. I mean, I think a lot of people use that as their guide of what's going on in the city. And so there's a percentage of the city that doesn't know. And, you know, what's sad is those people probably, there's probably a communication barrier with some of those people also. So they probably just don't feel engaged at all. And that's what we'd like to try to find out, is how do we touch those people who haven't been able to know exactly that city calendar for long. And that's a big communication
Yeah.
barrier, you know.
Would it take a budget?
We need That's Mr. Holden.
Yeah, that's Alex then.
Yeah, that's Alex.
How do you reach out to these other departments? How do you do that?
So we're still trying to work that out because that is a challenge. After this was brought up, I think the Christmas event, we tried to take posters to the apartment complexes. And we're having to rely on departments that really do this. So that's part of the challenge, is ironing out that process, because we're putting pressure on other departments to ask them, hey, since you're out, can you go to more places? We're doing the work that you already need to get accomplished in your day. So we gotta figure out a way to do that where it doesn't strain the system, and we're actively working on that. I mean, I had a very brief conversation about it even today, that we have more conversations about this and resolve.
So any other cities do something similar? I think it'd be a kind of typical problem.
That I'm not sure about.
Thanks, Mary.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
I did read your mission statement, trying to understand what you all were about, and I'm starting to get it a little bit.
What did you think about the mission statement? Because that's new.
It's new.
We just put that into.
Getting stuff pulled together.
Yeah, what I think about it.
Yeah. Did it give a good clip
Yeah,
inside?
it's one of the best I've ever read.
Very good.
Yeah, you guys did really good.
Because everything Tim says sounds sarcastic. Whether he's being
Damn
sincere.
good, damn good. Thank you.
Hello, nice to meet you guys. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I think it'll be good to have another source, networking, other ideas, and there may be things that you see that we don't notice or that we could add and, include with you guys. So I think having this meeting was very productive. I appreciate you guys working with us.
Sarah is our lead on Hispanic Heritage Month, and man,
You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
she did that with zero money.
That was.
Yeah.
She did that with nothing.
Wow.
I had a booth set up, it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was really good.
Let me know when you decide whenever you're gonna do it, I'll help you.
Okay, yeah. Well, this year I think we're gonna combine with the city of Duncanville, the Hispanic event they're having in September. So we're trying to think of, I'm trying to think of ideas like, to what to put in like a booth, like what to have like apps or, something to engage people and have this like, we're open to ideas.
Great job.
Amy.
I just like the word collaborate. I agree with Mary Ann. Anything we can do to improve communication, I agree with what he was saying. We get the same thing everywhere I go, and people ask, how did we know about the arts mixer? Maybe they were in, their apartment, like you said, they don't get the water bill, they don't know. People with the community theater, I'm so grateful that we can post our events on the community calendar. I think communication and ways that we can partner together on that communication is gonna really be the key. I think we all have cool events, we do things, the city has great events, but it's getting that word out to the public, letting them know that there's something for them, You know, not every event that, you know, we think all of our events are the best, but not every event is going to attract every person. But making sure that you have something that is a fit for at least, you know, for a large portion of the population. Every event's a little bit different, but I think the way that we can collaborate together, because that's what we need. We need the communication. I think that's gonna be the key in the way that we can work together on that.
I love it, I love it.
I think we are going to work on putting together a rubric of some sort on neighborhood associations, so that we can start identifying various geographical areas and working through the leadership in those neighborhood associations to try to help.
Smart.
Well, it
Smart,
just
smart,
makes so
smart.
much sense, you know, to do something like that, and we can really start working with key people who can help us.
Neighborhood arts fairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this another sarcastic?
I'm sorry, Tim. That was my.
Another section?
Yeah.
So, okay, you almost made me forget my question, which I might have. When the community, when Duncanville wants to get, like a public service announcement out to the community, I guess on the website, on the YouTube channels, depending on, that's a place for it, right? For that kind of a thing. I know that there are some campaigns that the city could probably use, you know, to get them, to do certain things, like, for example, like Keep Duncanville Beautiful litter campaign, sort of kind of thing. Awareness campaigns, there's all these kinds of things that the city would, I guess, and that could be brought to the city's attention. Do you see your group also engaged in things like that, or being accessible for the city to, you know, if they say, like Neighborhood Vitality, that group decided that maybe they needed help with a campaign of some kind?
I'd love to bring Neighborhood Vitality in, because I know, my better half of Neighborhood Vitality, and they haven't met in over 2 years.
I really
They haven't
think,
met in over 2 years. It's crazy.
I really think community engagement should interface with all of the boards and commissions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe just,
And to make things work.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that we do, now that we have a fully functional group of people who are working on the same page, I think we're gonna be able to make this happen.
And I think that would uniquely position you, because you'd be knowing everybody's doing. And you could be talking to parks and you say, well, I happen to know economic development's doing this, or,
Yeah.
you know, you will be the glue.
Yeah, that's what we should do. I think that was probably the impetus behind starting the community engagement.
stay focused on, you know, what are the best practices for any group in town. You know, that's what my goal is, you know. I know one of the things that I've been doing, you know, sporadically is looking at how other, you know, towns, you know, promote, because, you know, is the Cedar Valley person gonna, you know, Cedar Hill Valley, is that Cedar Hill person going to be, you know, a follower or a subscriber to the Duncanville YouTube channel? No, you know, so how do they get all these Duncanville folks to the Cedar Hill events? You know, you know what I mean? And I think that's where we can begin to kind of collate that, you know, that information.
I sort of think of y'all as a city PR firm. I don't know if y'all see that. No, it's like, that's how I see y'all.
That'd be awesome. I think that it's such a good group of people, and we're so diverse, and we come from different backgrounds. One thing that I think that we need groups like y'all that we can work with, and it helps us to brainstorm. It helps us to brainstorm. It really does. Because we get kind of stuck on the minutia of trying to be so tailored and succinct how we hit it. And it's like, half of it is just going out and having conversations with your neighbors, and talking to people. you know, and letting them know what the opportunities are and what's going on in the city and how we all can get involved.
Keep Duncanville Beautiful would have a yearly retreat where we would meet for hours on a Saturday with a lunch, and we do the whole yearly plan. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work too. It just led to a good result.
That's good, yeah.
So I wonder if there's a bet for everybody as a group.
You know what?
You know what?
So, some of us cycle off in 6 months, but you don't. So that's something that you can plan. But I think it's a great idea. You know what, we never had any sort of strategic planning process. And I think every single one of us is a professional, and every one of us are like, we should be having a retreat. We should be having a strategic plan. I hate this analogy, but we're building planes with flag. And
Very true.
I think we all are.
Very true. Guys, Amy, what do you see? Let's go down our row also. How we can work together.
I mean, like y'all said, we are community engagement, so we be aware what all the boards are doing, so that we can take that and send it to the community and make sure to come with a plan on how we're gonna reach all of the communities here in Duncanville. And so I think that's something that we really do need to work on, because we can come up with ideas, but how are we getting those ideas out? How are we reaching the community? And we talked about the newsletter on the bill, but there's people that even get it and they don't look at it. You know, I was guilty of that. It's getting it and I wasn't looking at it, just because I'm on auto pay on, I know, sorry. I'm on auto pay on my water bill, so I'm like, I don't need to look at this, you know? So, and then one day I did, and I thought, oh, this is when I put it up on my fridge. I think it was something to do with, it was something in October. But anyway, so we have to figure out how do we reach our community. And so I think the best way to do that is to partner with our businesses here in Duncanville. Businesses, schools, making sure that we're getting that information to everybody so that they can help us distribute it and we can reach more people. Because if I do think about it, how do we reach people? We come up with great ideas, but we really do need a channel to reach everybody. So I think that's really important, something that we need to, yeah, those are my thoughts. But, and I love that we get to be involved with all the different boards, because that gives us something to work with as well. So. And then I don't know if the yoga was part of the community event.
I mean, if you wanted it to be, it was, I knew that the whole group was involved, definitely with that.
Yeah.
With the
Oh, okay,
thing.
got it.
I'm still working with Parks and Rec on that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and I know that you gave me a date.
And you gave me a counter date.
Well, I think we decided on Easter weekend, on April 12th.
You didn't give me I'm sorry. I thought you gave me another date, but if you're good with that, I will get back with you.
Those are convenient. Okay, then I need to give you another date.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's it for me.
I think I've already.
Yep.
Well, I talked plenty.
Okay, well, I think it's fantastic that we have so many different people bringing different ideas. As a banker, as he knows, you know, I'm just thinking the end of it, but in my head it goes with the number where my partner is looking at the art side of it. And so we can come together and work through a project and figure out the best way. And I think that's gonna, and like I was thinking now, because I know when people contact Resource One and they're looking for a question, even if they don't follow through, our AI feature will send a text message to them. So I was wondering if we could have, if there's a way to do that, when people, even if they get on and plug in a little bit, all of a sudden they get a text message. And then also, oh, by the way, you got these events coming up.
That's smart. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I've been sitting on that all. I'm just kidding.
So for me, hello everybody, I'm Bridget Smith Neville, and so I'm just sitting here thinking I've been a resident here for 38 years. And so I'm really excited to hear the conversation. And I think just especially the arts, the commission, I'm familiar with that. So with the programming and the Juneteenth and the different cultural events, I'm really pleased to see the various language that we are in the events as well, because again, I just think that creates that connectedness in the community. And now that we've had the conversations, now I'm just ready to see the actual product. But I'm really excited to be at the table to really assist with implementing.
Love it. No, I can't wait. I mean, I cannot wait. I mean, I think working with y'all would be so good for our group. I mean, because everybody loves the arts, passionate about bringing people to our city. Y'all's commission is going to drive so much growth in this city, and I know it's not y'all's, it's everyone. I want to, hats off to y'all for sticking to this and making this happen. Because as we know, I mean, it's difficult at times in our city. Me being one of the newest people here with a business, what drew me here is that it's been such an underserved community and such a beautiful group of people. You know, bringing business, bringing restaurants, bringing retailers, bringing galleries. I mean, this is what the city is. I mean, this is what the city is. So I'm excited that y'all are here. We're excited to work with y'all. You know, whatever we can do, 100% we will do. You know, if we don't know how to do it, we'll try to find the people who do. We're excited, and thank you for coming, and thank y'all for letting us all do this together. Alex, thank you for spearheading this.
It's a lot of cat wrangling. Thank you.
Y'all have any other things?
No?
With that being said, let's adjourn at 7:37 p.m.
Arts Commission is adjourned, 7:37.